Welcome to County Connections. I'm Gwen Thorpe, and today I want to introduce you to our two newest county commissioners. Bill Avery is representing District 1, and Todd Wiltgen is representing District 5. Both of these gentlemen are fairly well known to the Lincoln and Lancaster County community, and so we'll get to know a little bit more about them and ask them some questions about their plans for their time as a county commissioner. So I'm going to start with you, Bill. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I have been in Lincoln since 1974. That gets it's past 40 years. I came here to take a position at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Thought maybe I'd stay 5 years and then move on, but I liked it. Decided to make it my permanent home, raised my family here, never regretted it. I served at the university for 32 years. Then I got elected to the legislature, served 2 terms there. Then after that, I was lucky enough to get on the ballot for this position. So here I am.
Here you are. And so you came to Lincoln from where?
Well, I came here right after graduate school at Tulane University in New Orleans. And prior to that, I was in the Air Force and spent 4 years there.
So I understand you were born in North Carolina?
Right.
So
I was born in North Carolina. When I graduated from high school, it was the Vietnam War was on. The draft was still in effect. I decided to volunteer, and fortunately, the GI Bill was still available, and I used the GI Bill for college after I got discharged, and it changed my life. I didn't have a lot of money for college, but the GI Bill was available. I took advantage of it. Found out that I was pretty good at college, and just kept going.
Kept going. So you ended up with a PhD.
Yes.
In
Political science.
Political science. And so you, I know you're a professor emeritus at UNL. So political science primarily was your area at
my area. My major was political science. My degree was in political science, but my research area was international trade.
Okay.
I traveled a lot and enjoyed it very much.
During your time in the service, where were you stationed?
I was stationed in Lackland first, in San Antonio, Texas. Then I was posted at Lowry Air Force Base in Denver for technical training. Then I was transferred to Walker Air Force Base in New Mexico, which interestingly was where the crew that flew the Enola Gay that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, where they trained. Not exactly something to be proud of, I guess, but it was interesting. And then I got reassigned. Finally, my last tour was in Colorado Springs. So I spent a lot of time in Colorado.
And so now here we are, having you as a Lancaster County Commissioner, and that's fun. That's fun, I hope, for you, and interesting.
It's interesting. What I'm struck by is how many different functions of government that the county commission deals with. In fact, virtually everything government does, we have a part of that, and it's been very, very, very rewarding so far.
And I would imagine it's kind of interesting with your legislative background now, looking at it in a little different perspective, kind of from the other end.
It's interesting to look at the impact that the state legislature has on what we do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And in particular, as we talk about a lot, the unfunded mandates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's big this year in the unicameral too.
Right.
So, yeah. Todd, on the other hand, Todd, you want to tell us a little bit? I know you're a native Nebraskan.
Yes. Actually, I was born and raised down in Kearney. My family still lives out there. I probably would have stayed out there had it not been for an incident. I always tell people that I'm accidental congressional aid. My education is in accounting. I have a bachelor's of science in accounting. My family has several small businesses, fast food franchises.
Oh,
And
okay.
so growing up, I'd always planned on going into the family business. My older brother, my parents are still active in their restaurants. But my last semester of college at the University of Nebraska-Kearney, through a mix-up with my advisor in the registrar's office, I was in the wrong catalog. And so I did my senior check in the winter of '98, and I found out that I was 2 classes short of graduating in that December. So I had 1 social science and 1 American literature class that I needed to take to graduate. So, and I couldn't get them waived. So that spring semester of '99, I took a political science class. The very first week of class, I was sitting in class, and I learned about an internship opportunity in the office of Senator Hagel. He had a Kearney office. And so I just happened to have extra time on my hands. I was taking 14 hours. I took a couple graduate level accounting classes thinking that I would go on to get a master's. But fate intervened. I heard about the internship, walked into his Kearney office, and applied and received that opportunity to work for him. That internship in Kearney turned into a career. Later that spring, a full-time position came open here in Lincoln. I applied for that position. It was constituent services, entry level, kind of like a staff assistant. Applied for it, got the job, and moved to Lincoln in May of '99. I actually graduated the week of graduation. I actually moved to Lincoln on Wednesday after my last college final, and then I started on Thursday. I had to take a vacation day to go back to Kearney to graduate, and then I started full-time that Monday. So it's been a great opportunity. I worked for Senator Hagel for 10 years. Kind of worked my way up through the years. I became the state director. I managed all 4 state offices, the staff, managed constituent services, which is really where I kind of fell in love with government and making sure that that government is responsive to constituents. I think it's really important. Kind of dedicated my life, my professional life, to that type of service. And after his retirement, I was there till the end. I helped the incoming Senate, Senator Mike Johans. I helped his staff during the transition. Yeah. So I actually got to shut the lights off. The very last day, I turned the lights off, and that was something that I feel I was very fortunate to be able to do that. After that, it just so happened that one of my responsibilities in working for Senator Hagel early on was in the 2000 census. I was the staff person that when constituents called and had questions about the short form or the long form, it was 1 in 6 households that got that 20-page questionnaire. I was the staff person that actually, regardless of where they were in the state, all those calls came to me. So I had the fortunate opportunity to deal with that in 2000. So an opportunity came up with the 2010 census. The regional director and the people at the Census Bureau knew that I was leaving, and they had approached me and asked me if I'd be willing to come work for them for a few years on the 2010 census. So I took that opportunity. It was just a non-political career appointment. It was temporary. I was based out of actually the Denver office, but I got to work from home. And that's where a lot of people probably really familiarize themselves with seeing my face.
Yes.
Was I did a lot of outreach, did the communications plan for the integrated outreach for the 2010 census to make sure that people, when they received the questionnaire, that they were familiar with it and they understood the importance of it so that they could complete it and mail it back. Not only because the information obtained on the form is more accurate, but it was also a cost savings to the taxpayer, because that non-response follow-up was the most expensive part of the census. And so through our efforts here in Nebraska, we did really well. We actually ended up being, our response rate, they call it participation rate, was 6th in the country highest in the 10-state
That's
region
very good.
of the Rockies. It probably would have been a lot higher, but part of our rural areas, that unfortunately is really hard to count, and so we have a lot of vacation homes, and so. But that was only a temporary position, and I knew it was when I went in, and it was a great opportunity to familiarize myself with the executive branch government. Having worked in the legislative branch for 10 years, it's kind of one of those things where maybe if I had worked in the executive branch, I would have been able to do a little bit better job. But I was very fortunate. I got to travel the state. I represented the entire state. Got to see a lot of the communities that I had always worked on in the Senate office. That ended, and then I went to work for a group here in Nebraska, the 5 leading agriculture organizations. I was the original coordinator for an organization called We Support Agriculture, which was an effort with the Nebraska Farm Bureau, the cattlemen, pork producers, the Dairy Association, and the Poultry Association. And that was kind of designed to educate the voters on animal welfare issues. There's a lot of talk. You hear there's some animal rights organizations out there who are looking at potential ballot initiatives across the country. They have an agenda that would be harmful to Nebraska's economy, to our farmers and ranchers. So I took the opportunity for a few months to work on that. Learned a lot about agriculture, a lot of what I didn't know, and so I'm grateful for that opportunity. And then an opportunity came back. I was approached by Congressman Fortenberry's office. I had worked with their office extensively during the 2010 census, but even when I worked for Senator Hagel, and there was a staffing issue, there was an opportunity and an opening. So they approached me and asked me if I would be willing to come back to a congressional office. And I accepted it. It was a great opportunity, taking what I had learned the last 3 years, an opportunity to come back and work in congressional office. And it comes back to what I originally said, which is I think that there's a role for government, and it's important to have people like Senator Avery and others in public service to step up and interact with government. And so that's, and then last year there was an opportunity arose. The prior commissioner at the last minute decided not to run for re-election. I was very fortunate to be in an opportunity, be in a position. I'd always intended at some point running for office. I knew what the challenges, I knew what was in store, and I had always planned on it. I just was grateful for the opportunity. It was a great experience. I'd campaigned for a lot of individuals over the years, and I must say that I enjoyed campaigning for myself a lot more than for others. So,
and we saw you at the county board during your time with the U.S. Census.
Yes.
It came forward and made a presentation to the board. Well, it so enriches the county board with all of the individual experiences that our commissioners have, and that's always been interesting to me as I watch the board work. Everybody brings a different set of knowledge and to the table, and so it's really fun. And I think public service in your positions can be tough, and I think I always admire people who step up and say I'll give it a shot. So I think on that note, we'll take a brief break, and then we'll come back and talk about your time now with the Lancaster County Board and kind of blue sky it and see what you think. So please stay tuned. We'll be back in a minute.
From the city to the country, there are so many places a book can take you. Don't let a physical or visual impairment stop you from experiencing the adventure that comes with a good book. To learn more about how you can receive free audio recordings of books and other literature through the Nebraska Library Commission Talking Book and Braille Service, call 1-800-742-7691 or visit nlc.nebraska.gov.
Welcome back. We're chatting with Bill Avery and Todd Wiltgen, our two new Lancaster County Board of Commissioners. We've kind of learned about their background. Now I'm going to ask them some questions about their time here with the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners. They're 2 of 5 commissioners. Lancaster County has, I don't know how many square miles, but you know, we encompass a lot of small communities and Lincoln. So we have a lot of issues. And so I guess my first question to you is, why did you want to run for the County Board of Commissioners? Bill, do you want to start?
Sure. I've always had a pretty strong sense of public service. My father was a minister, and he always taught his 3 sons to make your life count. He always said, make your life count. And by that, he meant it's not so much what you do, but how you do it, whether or not you serve other people in the process. So that was why I ran for the legislature in 2006, and when the opportunity came to fill a ballot vacancy for this position, I just thought it was a good way to continue my service, and haven't regretted it.
That's good to hear. How about you, Todd?
Well, a lot like what Bill said, you know, growing up, I had was very close to my grandparents, and my grandfather, you know, one of his, I guess, biggest influences in my life was, you know, he worked for the railroad, and so he was a very humble man, and he taught me that you need to find something that you love doing, and be thankful that you get paid doing it. And so early on, when I went to work for Senator Hagel, because that was really supposed to be a temporary job, I really thought I would continue. It was going to be a stop. You know, I was going to go on to get my master's or possibly get a law degree, but I fell in love with it, and it was something that I loved doing, helping people with their issues that they have. Because the role of government, you know, you can debate, you know, what it should be, but at the end of the day, you know, you really do need people to provide certain services, and making sure that the individuals who are in government are accountable. Sure. And so I just really, that was my life's calling. And so given the opportunity, again, with my predecessor not running for re-election, I'd always planned on running for local office. I'm really not so much, I don't know if I could ever run for the legislature. I think the county board is the right size, you know, having 5 commissioners. It's where, you know, we have to govern. You know, we can't filibuster. We can't, you know, use legislative tactics to delay. I mean, this is where, you know, the public, you know, really receives their most basic services. And so that's why I really do enjoy the local government aspect of it, the county commissioner. I really, you know, being from Kearney, you know, I wouldn't say it's a rural area, but it's, you know, it's 35,000. So I live in North Lincoln, kind of on the edge. I can still, on certain days in the summer, I can still hear cows mooing in the background. So I enjoy the fact that Lincoln is, you know, has such a large urban center, but also it still has the rural parts to it. I represent Northeast Lincoln with Waverly and Davie, you know, and obviously the interstate goes, you know, through the district, and so I really love the North Lincoln. I enjoy the rural parts of it. Waverly is a great community. They have a lot of opportunities out there. I look forward to working with them, and so I really enjoy it. I enjoy the makeup of the county board, having someone with so much experience with the state government, and we have some historical experience with Deb and Larry, and also Roma's experience with the military. And I think, you know, my experience with the federal government, I think we have a really well-rounded county board. I'm very pleased and very, like I said, it's very rewarding thus far.
A lot of perspectives. You've been here on the job a short time. What are your first impressions? Are you surprised about things? Are you?
The breadth of issues that we deal with
yes,
is what I found to be so interesting. we have all four basic functions of government. We are involved in it.
Right.
Judicial with the Board of Equalization, administrative with 28. I think it's 28 agencies and a budget of $165 million. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I like that. And you get to see that your work actually makes a difference to people. And people spend a lot of money on government through property taxes, and we have an obligation to make sure that they get what they need for the money they invest in government.
One of the things I know about county government is that we have a lot of information about citizens. I mean, we do from death certificates, property records, marriage licenses. I mean, we collect a lot of information about people. So you're right. We have a breadth of. Todd, how would you answer?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that, I guess my short experience, the one thing that I was not prepared for was day one. It was go. There was no soft landing. There was no honeymoon phase. You started day one.
Right.
We were sworn in on Tuesday, the 6th of January, and on Thursday, January 6th, we were sworn in, and then on Thursday, January 8th is when we had our first staff meeting.
And you were voting.
And we had tough votes.
And you're voting.
Yeah.
Yes, you did have tough votes.
And we had tough votes. And,
Yes.
And I think that is something that I really hadn't been familiar with. I'd been attending board meetings, so I knew
Right.
the issues. I just, my experience, I thought that there would be, I would get sworn in, there'd be kind of like a soft landing, here's how we do
Right.
things, and kind of like they do in legislature and in Congress. But I think that's something that I'm learning is that it's continuous because, the county government does so much. We have 2 meetings a week continuously. There is no recess. There is no, work period out in the district. It's every Tuesday and Thursday we have our staff and
meeting.
county board meetings, and then periodically throughout we have our different meetings for the different boards and commissions that we represent. And so that's one thing, But I'm up to speed. I was not expecting.
I tell people when they say, well, "How is it different?" I said, well, "You won't believe the breadth of issues." And I remembered that on I think it was our first meeting, we had an issue of a claim for 43 cents against the county. And in that same meeting, we voted on a $5.7 million contract. And I thought, wow, what a difference.
Right. Well, and I think something that some of our viewers may not be aware of is the fact that you do have the 2 meetings scheduled every week, but you sit on a lot of other subcommittees
Right.
and other meetings. So this is not just a 10-hour-a-week job. I think Lancaster County Commissioners put in a lot of time.
I started my day today at 7:30. Not my favorite time of the day, but it was an obligation.
It was an obligation. So what are you really looking forward to as a commissioner?
Well, what I'm looking forward to is seeing how the county, advances, how it changes, having the impact, a positive impact. We just reached the 300,000 threshold,
Right.
and so we continue to expand our population. And so I'm looking forward to, seeing especially Northeast Lincoln, the I-80 corridor, North 27th, North 56th, 84th Street, watching that area develop, because I think that's, there's been a lot of development in South Lincoln and West Lincoln, but I think, just over the last few years, there just hasn't really been development in the northern part, Northeast especially, and Waverly. So I'm looking forward to, working with with the private sector, with the different government agencies, and then the nonprofits, because like I said, Lincoln's a great community. We have a very diverse population, a very, robust community, large immigrant population. And I think that really, again, speaks a lot about the character and the quality of the community, and just making sure that we continue what we're doing and what we've done in the past, and just kind of carrying that forward. So I'm looking forward to it, because there's going to be a lot of challenges, with new technologies. We have an opportunity to transform government, but we have some other challenges, with transportation issues. That's something that we've been dealing with at the federal and state level for many years, and other issues, corrections. So I'm looking forward to working to develop constructive solutions to those challenges.
And you made the point that we crossed that threshold of 300,000 population, and that means that we're going to have to do some things that are mandated in state law. But that kind of population puts a lot of pressure on our infrastructure, and we have to really do this right to repair and rebuild our bridges and our roads, and that's not going to be cheap, and we have to find creative ways to get this done.
Absolutely.
You kind of hit on not going to be cheap. I mean, the budget crunch is real, and so I know that will be a challenge. And as we'll be going into budget hearings before too long with the departments, and I'm sure I always enjoy that time. I'm sure you will. It's interesting to see the programs that are out there and where they are, and so has anything been a surprise to you, or?
I think that for me, the surprise was how relaxed we are in our interactions. That was not always true in the legislature. The pace at the legislature was very intense for the session. And as the session grew older, you would actually find yourself in late nights and working until 9, 10 o'clock at night. The pace here is much more relaxed. The 5 commissioners are all very, very easy to get along with. I've known some of them for a long, long time, so it was easier for me. In fact, I knew Todd for quite a while before. So I find that was something of a surprise to me, the pace.
Well, I know our time is coming to an end, and I always think these TV shows could go on a lot longer than.
Well, you get 2 politicians together,
that is
and you can't get us to shut up.
We're more like statesmen, Bill.
Yeah, statesman. There you go, statesman. Well, I can say, as the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer to the County Board, I'm looking forward to your term with us. I've enjoyed getting to know you, and we are, I think, blessed in this community to have the quality of representation that we do on the County Board. And I hope that citizens if any questions for Bill or Todd, will email the County Board office at commish@lancaster.ne.gov, and also can phone the office at area code 402-441-7447. And either of these gentlemen or other board members will respond to your call, and please let us know if you have questions. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Bill. This has been interesting and fun, and we look forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. That's all we have this time on County Connections.